So I just got a Copeland Low D in the mail today. I'm very excited about it. It's the second one that I've owned. The first one I kept for a while and I ended up selling it. Um, but it's such a unique whistle. Such has such a unique place in low whistle culture that I kind of wish I had kept the other one. And I ended up I found a pretty good deal, relatively speaking, for a Copeland on on uh, on one recently, and went ahead and purchased it. Uh, and so I'm gonna keep it in my collection as a reference because people ask questions about them, and it's nice to be able to grab a whistle and be able to look at certain aspects that you don't always show up in kind of a general demonstration, and hopefully play it a little bit more often. And it's such a pretty whistle too, especially when they develop the patina. Not a huge fan of the shiny brass look, but that will go away uh, in a few years. So I'm just gonna let it do its thing and develop a patina on it. But yeah, it's a very shiny Copeland in a very nice condition. Got a little bit of a dent up here, but it doesn't affect the playability as far as I can tell. Plays about the same as the my other one. And then the other whistle that I wanted to play is an Onyx by Walt Sweet, and you can see that the flute or the hole pattern on here is much more like a traditional Irish flute or simple system flute. And these are the holes are tapered or offset a little bit, which I didn't think that I I would like, but when I use my Piper's grip, the angle my fingers fall across, it doesn't throw me off at all, so it's nice. Um, I do have this top hole taped off a little bit because I noticed in the second octave it feels like this top note goes a little bit sharp. Um, and that's probably my one issue that I've had. I bought this whistle 3 times, not this specific one, but I bought an Onyx by Walt Sweet on 3 separate occasions. Used ones come up. The other two I had were inline holes, and this one I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna keep it because it's a whistle that has such an interesting tonal characteristics that I feel like I just need to go ahead and keep it in my library for reference, uh, because it just has such a unique tone. So again, I got a good price on one used and went ahead and just purchased it. So probably the most flute-like low whistle for the people that are looking for that flute-like tone. And then the other whistle I have is a Michael Burke Viper in aluminum, and this whistle is another one. I feel like all three of these are kind of in a legato play style family. So, meaning that there are places on each one of these whistles where if you tongue it hard, it breaks. But if you breathe with strength into for the low note, you can get a really strong, rich bell note. So all three of them kind of have that same characteristic, whereas they'll break in places if you tongue it too hard, and they all benefit from being pushed to a certain extent. And if you can find that place, that kind of a sweet spot where you're blowing just hard enough to get that kind of buzzy resonance, then they're very rewarding to play. But if you blow them just a little bit harder, they break, and it's like dang. So, uh, kind of a unique category of whistle, and it's interesting that you've got two that are conical bore that fall into that, and then and I want to say that Walt Sweet may have even taken some design. I don't want to say that I know that at some point he was looking at the Copeland design and thinking about making something similar, but I don't know how that project panned out. But so possibly the Onyx took some design cues from the Copeland, but also some design cues from the flute, and so it's kind of a mix. of the two, so you'll see some of the similarities. Anyway, so here's the Copeland. So you hear that. You can blow it, but if you tongue it, it's almost impossible to tongue that low note without breaking into the second octave. Warren's Jig is the tune that I played. So it's it's a tough one for me, but it's like a 4-part jig. But I really like it, and I play it every once in a while. But here's the Onyx. You can hear. So gorgeous low D note on that, but it's again you gotta again, these are whistles that need familiarity with how to blow them. You gotta settle into them to find where to push them and where to pull back. So. Again, really like the tone on that, but you could hear it a couple places. At least I don't know if it's how I'm blowing it, but it's I have trouble. Sometimes I'll feel like that. Those notes just seem like they're a little bit off in spots, but the tone is so great that I I keep it. I tell people it's like if like a Michael Burke and a an Irish flute got married and had a baby, then the Onyx is the baby they would produce. So here is the Burke. So as far as I know, the Burke has the best bell note of any whistle. But all of these whistles, you can't blow the next note up as hard. So if you went, it immediately breaks into the second octave if you go up. So it's kind of something that you might be able to use for effect in certain tunes, but it's kind of hard. It's harder to hit that at full strength in the middle of a tune, especially if it's fast. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of a neat trick, but the way that it's engineered, it kind of it doesn't always work. So in a tune setting, but I love that burning complexity that the Burks have. And just to be fair, as I'm going up, when I'm getting into this third octave, for all three of these whistles, I need a tongue to do those like last three notes. Otherwise, it gets rough. So I didn't do that on the Copeland at first, so it sounded a little bit rough. But you can. Anyway, so it's still a little harder to get that third octave D on the Copeland than on the Burke, but you can get it if you adjust your breath enough. So. But there you go. And I was able to get the. So I was able to get kind of a solid low D on that, which is harder on. The Onyx has by far the shakiest of the or most tentative of the low notes. Like you can get it strong, but it doesn't take much breath at all. You can overblow it really easily. So and also these whistles can be tongued, especially at the top, like. I'm still overblowing it, so. That's where I have right there that. That's where I have trouble on the Burke, in that one spot. It doesn't like to be in the second octave. It does not like to be tongued right there, which is why I said I put it in more of the legato style family. But so I hope that I hope that's helpful. I really think the Burke is a really nicely. I mean, the Burke is a professional level whistle. I feel like all of these are professional level whistles. Just I would say that Onyx has the lowest volume. It definitely feels like the tone, it doesn't project as well as the others, and I suspect that has to do with the thickness of the Delrin walls and the size of the holes. It's a quieter playing whistle overall. The Burke is probably the loudest of the whistles, um, and I feel like the Burke has the fewest quirks, except for that one area where I said I have trouble with the tonguing. I have to be really careful, or I break it pretty consistently in the wrong spot. The Copeland has a really nice tone. It's almost kind of a balance between the two. It's a little bit less quirky than the Onyx, but it's definitely a whistle that I heard someone say that the Copeland rewards fidelity to it. So somebody that spends time learning about the ins and outs of how to play the Copeland, it rewards that, and it does a better job. It responds well, like as you learn how to blow it, where how to push it in the right way. That it's kind of a whistle that gets better as you learn its idiosyncrasies. So I hope that was interesting, and I'll try to do some more Copeland videos, because I know there aren't a lot of them out there. And I put a few out, and I realized I hadn't put out as many as I thought I had when I had the low D the last time. Definitely not enough with the low F. I should have done more. But anyway, hope that was interesting.